Alright guys, another day, another strength. We got the first video here in the new apartment. Just moved over the weekend. Got some new exciting stuff here, right? So today's video, we're talking about training hard, right? You really gotta train hard. It's very, very important. But I'm gonna talk about mainly the difference between exercise and training, and then talk about why a lot of people don't want to train hard, right? The psychology behind that, and such. So exercise versus training, right? Exercise is good for you, right? It's something that you do while you're training as well, right? So like training is exercise, but exercise is not always training. So I'll get into that in a second. But basically, like an example would be, training is you're working towards a goal in the long term. So let's say that you squat 200 for 3 sets of 5 today. You're going to squat 205 for 3 sets of 5 in a couple of days, or at some point in the future. You're working towards that. You're actively improving, and you're taking steps to get better. And even when it gets hard, you're pushing the limits. You're pushing further and further up at any cost, right? Not any cost, but you know what I'm saying, right? And then on the other side, exercise, right? Exercise is you're just doing something physical for the effect that it's producing in that workout, right? So you're like, going for a walk, or you're going for a light jog, right? You're getting the heart rate up, feeling the endorphins flowing, which is great. That's a good thing too. But people confuse the two, right? And it's because they come from a lifetime of exercise. But really, like, the focus of this video, something that I see a lot in my practice is that people, they want to get training results from exercise activities, right? They want to not train hard. And the issue is really not so much that if you think that you're, if you see what's actually happening and you recognize it for that, meaning like if you exercise and you recognize that you're not going to get the benefits of training, that's fine. But a lot of people, they think that like just by doing an exercise that they're going to get the benefit from it, right? So for example, like they think they can just go to the gym and like do squats, or even people that go to the gym and train, like they think that they can just like do biceps, right? Just like do curls and they're going to get bigger biceps, and you're not. You still have to train your curls, get stronger, do more reps, do more sets, improve it over time, right? So you don't get the training results from the exercise, right? So if you're looking for aesthetics, bone density, balance, strength, like any of those things, better insulin sensitivity, health, blood pressure, all that good stuff, you're not going to get that just from exercising. You have to train at a certain point, right? So showing up is the most important part, but showing up is just not enough, right? So people oftentimes, if you bring up this stance, they'll say as a counter that, at least they're showing up, or at least they're, there are a lot worse things that they could be doing. That's what I hear all the time, right? But there are also a lot better things that you could be doing too. So like, just because you're not, actively sabotaging yourself doesn't mean that you shouldn't be training hard, right? You should still be making an effort to train hard in a effective and if not optimal fashion, right? But unfortunately, the main factor is that most people just shy away from effort. Most people don't want to work hard in general, let alone in the gym, right? Sorry, you're getting the dad talk. It's coming out here. Particularly, I see this actually in mature lifters, right? So older lifters, they worry about, they bring up, injury as a concern, which I feel like a lot of the times is just a cop-out. And the younger guys, it's like, they'll say, it's getting really hard. I think I just want to do hypertrophy is what they'll say, right? But they don't realize that that also is hard training as well. They think that, like if you've been training for strength, that, you can just do like light weights and do a bunch of reps, and that's going to be easier, but it's not, and that's not how it works, right? But anyways, for the, the injury thing in the older lifters, I just want to debunk that real quick. Oftentimes that's unwarranted. So like actual injury, as I went through my injury video, is very, very rare. You may experience inflammation, but what person over the age of 60, especially sedentary people, don't have inflammation, right? Whatever you're experiencing with your sedentary lifestyle is going to be worse than what you're going to experience through training, and that's going to improve over time, right? It doesn't feel great. You should read the barbell prescription. It's worded a lot better in that book. But basically, another question I would ask is, does inflammation go away if you're weaker, if you have less muscle mass or less bone density, right? If you have weaker tendons or joints or ligaments? No, it does not. So don't just sit around and not do anything, right? Your inflammation is not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. So, and then also, lastly, active attempts at maintenance are self-sabotage and lead to regression. So if you're saying like, oh, I'm just going to stay at this weight, lift the same weight every time, right? Eventually you're going to regress sooner rather than later, right? Because all it takes is you to either like, miss a rep or miss a session, and then all of a sudden like you're on the downward trend and starts to accelerate, right? You were doing 3 sets of 5 at 185 for your squat. Now, you miss a couple sessions, now you're down to, 175, then you go on vacation, then you're down to 165, so on and so forth, and you're just regressing over time, right? And then lastly, a big one that I see a lot too is you can't maintain what you haven't built, right? So there is a way to actually like maintain effectively. It's not the way that I just described a second ago, but you could just basically slow down your progress a lot to where it's like effectively maintenance, but you're still actually progressing. You're still pushing further and you're actually training. In that way, you're just progressing slower than you're able to, right? So for example, if you're able to add weight to the bar once per week, but instead you add weight to the bar once per month, then you're still actually training and you're progressing. I would consider that maintenance because you're just kind of like, you're very slowly creeping up. But that's totally fine in certain cases. But one issue I see is that people want to maintain when they haven't actually trained hard in the first place. So like they're not even actually getting to the point where the sets are difficult. Like I've had clients where like I've never even seen them do a hard set, and then they're like, I just want to maintain, I don't want to get that strong. But it's like you're not even at the point yet where you're actually getting a benefit from this, right? So like, and it's often in people that need it the most, right? So they're trying to reverse osteoporosis or reverse type 2 or prediabetes more so. And those are the people that really need to train hard and put in some hard effort, and they're just not willing to do it a lot of the time, or they have their own ideas of like why they shouldn't be doing it. But like really, it's a no-brainer. You should be doing it. And then not exercising and not moving at all is just not an option, right? That's just like, it's really the same thing as not eating. You're just gonna die on, there's a longer time horizon, but like, you're starving yourself with something that's important that you need to live and to be healthy, right? So you can not eat and you'll live for, a good amount of time, right? Depending on how much body fat you have stored. There was that guy that fasted for like over a year because he was super obese, right? So the average person can live for like a few months without that, right? So obviously food is very important. And you can say the same thing about training too, right? Like you can not train and you'll live for, let's say you're 50, you're gonna live for another maybe 20 years, 25 years. But if you train the whole time, you might live another 45 years or 50 years, right? So like, it's still gonna kill you if you don't do it. Just look up, data on people that break their hip age 65 and up, right? There's that stat where like, if you break your hip and you're 65 or older, I think like 2/3 of people are dead within, maybe it's 1/3 or 2/3 are dead within like 6 months, if they break their hip at that age. So it's very important to stay strong, stay in shape. But yeah, that's it for my video / rant for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, say something in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, goodbye.